bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Good evening. Fade to Black. Bespoke Radio for the masses. Yeah, man, how you doing? Today's Tuesday, March 9th, 2021. Let's do this, man. 68 days into the new year. Only 297 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of beautiful downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR. The Game Changer Network. KGRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? All right. Looking at these gifts in Twitter. You guys are the best. I just like them all. Throws off the Twitterverse. Night. Here we go. Tonight, Chris Bledsoe is here, returning. We're going to discuss the latest in his life, what's going on. And I know all of you remember the show from last year in March, right before Easter. Easter hit, all that. We're going to be talking about that because Easter's coming up. So we will discuss Easter. And, of course, disclosure and contact in 2021. All of that tonight with Chris Bledsoe. Tomorrow night, right here, Harvard's Professor Avi Loeb is here. Now, we're going to be talking about his new book. It is called Extraterrestrial. Everybody's talking about it. And if you haven't gotten the book and you haven't read it yet, well, you need to. It's an extraordinary book. It's an extraordinary piece of work. I don't know if I'm going to mention this tomorrow with Avi, but I reached out to him after Oumuamua. I remember announcing that and doing all those shows on it. And then his research paper that came out a little bit later about Oumuamua. I reached out to him at that time, said, hey, I'd like to get you on the show. And he wrote me back and said, you're going to want to wait, Jimmy. We can do this now if you want, but I'm in the middle of writing a book. So let me get the book out, and then I will come on the show for sure. We can do it now if you want, and I said, okay, all right, I'll hold off. That's pretty cool. Well, a year later, right? But the book is out, and the book is great. Tomorrow night, Professor Avi Loeb joins us. Thursday night's another Fader night with open lines all night long. And have you guys seen, if you haven't yet, go to Carolyn Ford's Facebook page and check out the hollow quartz skull that she's got there. I'm just saying, check that out. Check that out. The first person to post the picture of the hollow quartz skull in Twitter, I'll give you a shout out. Let's see who does it first. It's incredible. Look at my response. My response was OMG. And I'm thinking, I know how big Einstein is. And this skull is right next to Einstein. And you need to check this out. Man. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Imagine that, just like right there with a light underneath it. Whew. Man. Go to EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Promo code Jimmy, Jimmy. Will get you 10% off of your Crystal Skull order today. Maybe you'll get that hollow crystal skull. Just check that out. Man. All right, let's see who gets the shout out. Who's going to do it first? I want to see it right here in Facebook. I want to see it here in Twitter. Look at that. Venus. That's Einstein on the right. Look at Venus on the left. Einstein is this tall. It's that. Look at that. That is just incredible. Absolutely incredible. There you go, Kaz. You get the shout out tonight. Yep. That's pretty cool. Kaz did that from her cell phone. She's getting it done. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Hashtag F2B is a sandbox, and you can check out that crystal skull right here. Donnie Douglas. Yeah, look at that. That's just an incredible crystal skull. Hollow. All right. EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. The links are over at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Hashtag F2B is a sandbox. Hello to everybody over in the chat room. Here, let's just do this here in real time. Hello. See? You just do it like that. And just say hello to everybody over there. Facebook, YouTube, and the Bunker Cam, of course. Hello to everybody out there. We got a great show tonight. Chris Bledsoe is here. And you can also email throughout the show, Jimmy at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Any questions for myself or Chris Bledsoe tonight, use hashtag F2BQ. That's Fade to Black Questions. Pop it up right there. Let's get to the breaking news. You knew it was coming. It appears that Pepe Le Pew has officially been canceled, as the controversial cartoon skunk won't be featured in any upcoming projects in the works at Warner Brothers TV. All right, so it was announced this week. It was reported that Pepe had been totally scrubbed from his planned scene in Space Jam: A New Legacy, and wouldn't even be making a cameo appearance in the sequel. Now, The Hollywood Reporter has confirmed that there are no plans for Pepe to return in any other animated movies or TV shows ever. I'm going to leave that right there for now. Leave it right there for now. Study of the prints of bare feet have been found at a cave in the Ojo Garania karst complex in Burgos. And the new report has just been published. The prints were left in a soft floor sediment inside the cave. And dating carried out in the access galleries to this site has documented intensive human traffic during the Neolithic, Mesolithic, and Upper Paleolithic, confirming continuous visits to the cave complex throughout prehistory, pretty much all the way to today, about 20,000 years. Of the prints of the bare feet samples dated, 6 are from 4,600 to 4,200 years ago. 4 samples were documented between 6,600 and 6,200 years ago, Neolithic, and 3 others between 7,800 and 7,700 years ago, Mesolithic. The most ancient is dated around 19,000 years old, Upper Paleolithic. You need to see the pictures of these prints. They're perfect. Perfect little bare feet in the sediment. 20,000 years of continuous occupation of this cave. Incredible. Well, now, in a major event for UK science, the meteorite that fell from the fireball that lit up the sky over the UK, over Northern Europe, this past Sunday, February 28th, the meteorite has been found. Almost 300 grams of a very rare meteorite known as the carbonaceous chondrite survived the Earth's atmosphere and landed on a driveway in the small Cotsworth town of Winchcombe. Other pieces of the meteorite have now been recovered in the local area. Incredible, but not to be outdone, because right here in the United States of America, a meteor streaked through the night sky over Vermont on Sunday, this past Sunday, March 7th, creating a spectacular light show and causing earth-shaking booms as it burned through the atmosphere. This is where it gets trippy. The meteor's explosive passage through the atmosphere released the equivalent of 440 pounds of TNT, suggesting that the meteor was likely about 10 pounds and 6 inches in diameter. That's it. A softball. Traveling at 42,000 miles per hour. Absolutely incredible. Haven't found it yet, though. 6 pounds. This big. 42,000 miles per hour. Let's get this show cracking. Happy birthday to today, rock pioneer John Cale. 79 years old. Of course, he formed the Velvet Underground. Lou Reed. Guitar god Robin Trower today is 76 years old. I went back today. I watched all kinds of Robin Trower footage from the 70s and 80s. Absolutely incredible. Robin Trower today, 76 years old. Bridge of Sighs. Man. That album changed things for me. Robin Trower live, too, was a pretty incredible album. ABC frontman Martin Fry today is 63 years old. Now, I don't care how heavy metal you are. I don't care how country you are, how classical you are. ABC made you tap your toes. Poison Arrow? Huh? You like that song? The Look of Love? Admit it. That was then, but this is now. Admit it. Martin Fry was smooth. Well, he still is. Still out there doing it. Today, he is 63 years old. Our dead guy's birthday today is, moment of silence, Ornette Coleman. 1930 to 2015, died at the age of 85. Ornette was a saxophonist, of course, a violinist, a trumpeter, and a founder of the free jazz movement with his 1960 album called Free Jazz. Broadway Blues and Lonely Woman became jazz standards and are cited as important early works of free jazz. In 1991, Coleman, now you need to go check this out. David Cronenberg's film Naked Lunch. That soundtrack, right? That's Ornette Coleman. Well, most of it. It is notable, among other things in the film, that had a rare sighting of Coleman playing a jazz standard in the movie, the Thelonious Monk's Mysterioso. Ornette died of a cardiac arrest at the age of 85 in New York City on June 11th, 2015. On this day in history, OTD. Can't believe this went down. In 1997, the notorious B.I.G. is shot to death at a stoplight in Los Angeles, right in front of the Peterson Automotive Museum, after he left in a couple of GMC Suburbans with his entourage. Puff Daddy Combs is in the SUV behind him, part of his entourage. And 4 shots fired, 1 killed. The notorious B.I.G. Never solved. Fader fact. In 1996, a year before, in 1996, Russia launched a Mars. Now, listen, when I bring you a Fader fact, it is something you write down and go check out for yourself. You need to vet it. I vetted it. This is a fact, but this is a Fader fact. Now, listen to me. In 1996, Russia launched a Mars rover. They called it Mars 96. That's right. Mars 96 was the largest and heaviest interplanetary probe launched up to that time. But you never heard of it, have you? Because it crashed back to Earth 2 days later. Nobody ever bothered to look for it. And it is believed to be just lying around somewhere in the Andes Mountains in either Chile or Bolivia. And that is your Fate or Fact. Tonight, Chris Bledsoe is here, returning, and we're going to be discussing all the latest stuff going on in his life. We're going to be talking about Contact in 2021. We're going to be talking about Disclosure and Easter. Right now, I need to hit this River Moon coffee. RiverMoonWellness.com. I like my coffee dark. Dark. Look at Nova Love. Just posted Pepe Le Pew. Now, can we talk? This cancel culture thing is starting to freak me out a lot. The basic idea is a simple one. An individual or group decides they don't like something or someone, and then they get a company or an industry to take out a giant eraser and remove them or it from history and or society. That's right. Now, I can break it down easily for everyone. First, everything about our history, anywhere on this planet, at any time, is offensive to someone. And second, there are literally millions, if not billions, of examples just in the last 100 years that fall into any category. And everybody is offended by something or someone. So I guess let's just erase everything. Let's remove all of history. Nobody is allowed to get a job. Nobody is allowed to live. Nobody is allowed to say or think anything ever again. Because you don't want to offend anybody, do you? You don't want to get canceled. This is where we are headed. And it's happening fast. Right before our very eyes and ears. Now, here's the thing. This planet, has fought long and hard for freedoms. Freedom of expression, freedom of the arts, freedom of the press, freedom in cinema and TV and radio, in publishing. Because all of it has been repressed throughout history. And we finally started to get there. Things were good. For a minute. These freedoms gave us Richard Pryor. Gave us Sam Kinison. Gave us Bill Hicks. Now, although all three are no longer with us, if they were alive today, they would be unemployed and untouchable. They would be canceled, thrown away like garbage, erased and forgotten. Today, It's Pepe Le Pew and Mr. Potato Head. Tomorrow, My Little Pony, the Powerpuff Girls. And, well, just about anything you can name or think of. Get ready. Because all of history is about to be canceled. I can already see it now. You know, in 100 years, a student born with a strange gene that allows thinking and questions. That student with this deformity will ask their history teacher, wow, humans have always been so boring. How is that possible? It's going to happen. Here's the bottom line. I may be offended by something or someone. Right? But don't take away my ability to check it out and make up my own mind. I have seen things that really push the boundaries, where even for me, I'm like, okay, that's too much. But I also have the option of changing the channel, of stopping the video, or closing the book. The science fiction classic movie Alien introduced H.R. Geiger to the world. He was part of the special effects team that won an Academy Award for the visual design of Ridley Scott's 1979 sci-fi horror film. The alien creature design, of course, is credited to H.R., originating from his lithograph titled Necronom 4. Check it out. Now, if the cancel culture actually saw any of H.R.'s other works of art, his sculpture, he would be removed from world history tomorrow. Trust me, you think you've seen H.R. Well, you haven't. And let me tell you, most of his stuff is freaky deaky. The darkest part of your brain, freaky deaky. It would make Rob Zombie blush. The cancel culture would make sure that all of Ridley Scott's Alien series of films would be deleted. Gone. Poof. Forget about Pepe Le Pew. I'll take it a step further. Ridley Scott could not make the Alien films today because HR would have already been canceled and his Alien would have ended up being like a unicorn spitting confetti. Now, don't even get me started on Blazing Saddles. But maybe I should take this moment to mention the Mel Brooks cinematic masterpiece. Because tomorrow, it may not exist. This cancel culture thing has to stop now. I can't tell you about how many things or people offend me, but I'll never take away their right to upset me. And for the love of God, don't take the right from me to lose you as a listener. These are freedoms that we have fought so hard for. The right to choose, the right to make up our own minds. I don't need anyone deciding for me if Mr. Potato Head is going to impede with the development of my grandchildren. I can handle that on my own. I want all of the future generations to have those same choices too. It's gotten to the point today that I can't mention vanilla or chocolate ice cream. I can't do it without thinking about the deep-rooted meanings that these simple words have, and I'll manage to make someone cry, break down, and they'll lose all faith in humanity and the will to live because of a frozen dairy dessert. The cancel culture has to stop now. Fought too hard for these freedoms. Way too hard. Could you imagine today the outrage if Richard Pryor hit the stage and just did his thing? Just imagine that. You want to take that away from us? They want to do this. They're getting offended. Offended. The right to be offended, I'll kill for it. I'll die for it. Many have. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Chris Bledsoe returns. We're going to be discussing the latest, what's going on in his life, Contact in 2021, Disclosure, and Easter. All that and much more coming up after the break. Tomorrow night, right here, Harvard's Professor Avi Loeb. We're going to be discussing his new book, Extraterrestrial. Thursday is another Fader night with open lines all night long. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio, if you dare. I'll be right back with Chris Bledsoe. Stay with us.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Introducing the Game Changer blend from Rivermoon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all Rivermoon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, folks. It's troubling times, and fear is pushing emotions, which in turn pushes health the wrong direction. Do you ever get an ache because life is uneasy? Try Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com. Life Change Tea works on your digestive tract, helping to move food through quicker and comfortably so your health is spot on. Life Change Tea may not help with world issues, but it will help with your digestive issues. A glass a day helps keep the intruders away. So, change your life today. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. If your health game is off, get on by ordering Life Change Tea. GetTheTea.com. And while you're on our site, look around at the great non-GMO organic supplements. And if you're a sales shopper, go to our specials page and see what's for you. I've been drinking the tea for 12 years and I'm sure glad for its health benefits. Again, that's GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com. The tea that makes you go.
Fadernauts, when you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the planet.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey. You're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Chris Bledsoe is here. Tomorrow night, Harvard professor Avi Loeb joins us. Thursday night, of course, is another Fader night with open lines all night long. Tonight, it's Chris. He's back. We are going to discuss all of the latest developments in his world, all of the breaking UFO headlines. I'm going to get some of that out of him, too, as well, and what we can expect for disclosure in 2021. And I'm also going to bring up Easter. That's right. January 2007, Chris Bledsoe Sr. came face-to-face with extraterrestrial beings and had missing time. Although he couldn't and didn't recall the details of that first encounter until he was under hypnosis about a year and a half later. While on the banks of the Cape Town River, Chris, his son Chris Jr., and 3 of his subcontractors discovered that they were about to experience the most craziest day of their lives, involving unexplained phenomena, leading them to believe that possibly this may be the end of the world. I would have thought the same things. Well, multiple 3-letter agencies have been involved with the Bledsoe case, bringing increased attention and mystery to this ever-evolving story. I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, Chris Bledsoe. Chris, how are you tonight, man?
Doing good, Jim. Thank you for having me. I'm honored.
I'm doing good. We got some wind blowing. Is that a fan?
No, it might be this window.
Oh, no, we got some. Okay, we got no. We didn't have this earlier. Huh. Whoa. Yeah,
totally silent.
Yeah, it's loud. What is going on? That's crazy.
Yeah.
Somebody's running interference on us, man.
That's what it sounds like.
You can't hear it, can you? You're saying that you're in dead silence?
I'm in my shop and it's dead silent. Well, we've been chatting 10 minutes, or close to it.
Wow, that's weird, because earlier when we did our sound check, it was perfect. You know what? Chris, stay right there. I'm going to reset this. Something's weird. Okay. Something's weird. Just stay right there. That is bizarre. Chris and I were just chatting, and it was perfect. And that's inaudible. Wow. Okay, let me see if I can pull this back up. I have no idea what that is. Yeah. Oh man, it's worse.
Uh-oh.
Let's.
I have a clue who it might be.
That is bizarre. That is bizarre, and I have no idea what that could be. This. It's kind of fun to do this in live radio. All right, so let's try this, Chris. Let's see if it's radio interference. Move your laptop.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's move it around and see if it gets better. Oh man.
Nothing?
No, and it's funny. People are. Somebody just posted a pic in Twitter of a hurricane with palm trees blowing, and that's kind of what it sounds like. Just to give you an idea.
Wow.
Oh man.
I hate it. I have a clue though.
It's and you're saying this is what's crazy. You're saying that you're in a completely silent room.
Yes.
With nothing going on. There's no fan in the background.
Nothing.
A fan that could be blowing wind, air conditioning, overhead fan.
Nothing.
And there's no Category 5 storm outside.
It's calm as it can be. The fireplace is going very gently, but that's it.
This is, oh no. Okay, let's reverse this, Chris. I'm going to hang up. You call me. Let's reverse it, okay?
Okay, and if that, we can do it on my phone too and see if that's different.
Yep, and I'll do that too as well. Okay, so I'm going to hang up. You call me. And, wow. And if I have to, we can go cell phone. That's nuts. I mean, I have never experienced something like that. But let's see what happens here and see if we can get another hard reset. We were just chatting. It sounded amazing. Sounded perfect. So I don't know. I have no idea. This is live radio, folks. And it's Chris, and it's so strange because when we were chatting earlier, I was thinking to myself, the audio quality is so perfect. He sounds like he's in the studio, and the micro. It was awesome. And okay, let's see what we got here now. Nope, still the same. Okay. So that's it. I'm going to do a hard reset. I'm going to call you on your cell phone, and here we go. Yeah, this is live radio. This is live radio. Stuff like this happens. I have no issues with this at all. So let's do this, and just stay with me, everybody. Don't you wish you knew the number I was calling? You want this, don't you? All right. That is just crazy to me. That is just absolutely nuts. Oh, man.
Hey.
Now, see? Perfect. Perfect. You sound like you're right here, but now we don't have that beautiful video.
I know, right?
Oh.
Somebody messing with it.
See, you sound right now. I want everybody to understand. We do sound checks with every guest every night right before the show. We clear the lines, make sure the audio is as best as it, and you and I were chatting earlier, had a great conversation. It was perfect. Showtime? No, somebody was running interference, but they're not running it now. Are you, can we start off there for a second, Chris? Are you used to this? Are you know what I mean? Are you used to just strangeness going on?
Well, yeah, and I know who's doing it.
Who's doing
because
it?
They
call them out.
Well, I can't say on. I'd rather not say on here, but I do know Ryan even has been harassed. And they have geeks that are good on computers and can hack into your TV or anything.
But
it's just one group that specifically does this stuff.
So strange, to know that just half hour, 45 minutes ago, had just a great audio, great clean line, and then boom, taken down. So, yeah, somebody's running interference. I mean, I've never I've done 2,000 shows. I've never heard that. Go back tomorrow, Chris. Go back and listen to the replay of the show, and listen to what was going on. You're gonna go, man. You can't stop Chris Bledsoe. You gotta come bigger than that. You gotta come bigger than that. Hey, I wanted to ask you this. We'll get to everything else in just a minute, Chris. But what do you make of the cancel culture that is going on today, where it was announced today that Pepe Le Pew has been canceled by Warner Brothers. Pepe Le Pew.
Well, what it's doing is it's upsetting, whether it does me or not. I'm not into the politics and I don't even have television, but I do keep up to date somewhat through YouTube. But it's just dividing the country more and more. And the more they do that, the worse things they'll get. In other words, not our emotions is tied to the climate, tied to this earth, and you just watch. As long as we're running this kind of division, it's going to continue to get worse.
Don't you think, Chris, that eventually the world's just going to put their foot down? Go. Money. They're going to take down the Roadrunner, and we're just going to let them do that. I don't think so. I think there's going to be a line in the sand here pretty quickly.
Well, it's coming. It's sad to say. I mean, it's really sad. I'm almost 60 years old, and will be this year. And in the last 10 years, things completely shift around for me. I mean, I can't believe how things have changed like they have, and it's almost like the timeline to Armageddon has gone into hyper overdrive. That's what it seems to me.
You know what Rita said to me today, and I kind of noticed this, and I've been mentioning this more and more lately, but she said to me today, she goes, "Do you hear that?" We're on our back patio. And I said, "What?" She goes, "Exactly. It's nothing." Right? It's just silence. And we live in the middle of Los Angeles, and where, 24 hours a day, there's noise. And it's just silent outside. You don't hear anything. It's weird. It's like Charlton Heston in the Omega Man.
It is strange, and to see all these poor businesses trying to make a living and pay their bills, and it's horrible. I mean, it's horrible what's happening. People losing their livelihoods, and all this COVID was a horrible thing and still is. But we're in the middle of it. We're in a timeline that is fastly heading towards a point to where there's a line in the sand, and I don't know where it's going to go from there. I think we're like the Hopi drew this. I saw this on the History Channel, where Ancient Aliens showed the Hopis were talking, and they had this staircase where you're at a point where you either go up or you go down, and I think that's the line in the sand. That's what's coming. So we're at that crossroads as a country and as the world.
I think that you bring up a great point. I think that after World War II, after World War I, right, and then we didn't think that was the Great War and it would never happen again. And 2 decades later, 3 decades later, World War II kicks off. And then after that, we just didn't think that the crazy would return, and that it could never get that bad. Then 2020 rolls along, and it did get that bad. You know, I just don't think we expected this. I think we let our guard down.
Well, talking about Easter, and I'll remind of this, Easter of 2019. Every year at Easter, something major and amazing has happened since 2012. But 2019 was living on this pond, on this cabin here, this little 4-acre pond. And that's when this orb, these same orbs that people see way up high, it came all the way and hovered over my pond. And that's when I was told that I had to get out and tell this message to warn the people that trouble was coming. And so 2019, as you know, I did like 10 interviews. I hadn't talked in 8 years, been in silence. And then I came out of silence to warn that trouble was looming. And sure enough, come January, February, here's COVID. And then the rest is history. So,
and
we're at that crossroads.
Let's, Chris, if we can, take us back to that moment. And how was it shown to you?
Well, I'll just tell you the details of the experience. I was expecting something to happen, as I always do at Easter. Something's going to happen. I just know it's going to be not just a light in the sky or some of these close-up orbs. I mean something really amazing. And I was expecting Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday, and nothing. Just nothing. But Monday, I'd kind of given up on really wasn't thinking about it. Kind of left my brain on Monday night, and I walked out after dinner or supper. I guess it was 8 or 8:30 maybe. And when I opened the door, I'm only 6 feet from the water. My pier, our pond, the pier's right at the back door. So I walk out the door and I'm facing the pond, and I look up. I don't know how high, but it was pretty good ways up, 1,000 feet maybe or less. And this orb just appears and starts flashing very brightly, and very excited, and was heading straight towards me. And when it came to the pond's edge on the other side, above the trees, it did this. It's doing this flashing red, white, yellow, and it's just spiraling, coming down in a spiral. When it gets to the top of the pine trees, it comes straight down through the top of just on this side of the trees, right to the pond's edge, and stopped. And I thought, oh my Lord, it frightened me because I was afraid of it getting too close. And of course, when you see stuff like that, it gets you out of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
My dog was with me, and they were frozen. And I just kind of just sat down on my knees, and I said, I'm not leaving. I know you're not going to harm me. And this thing came down. When it stopped at the edge of the pond, this is when I was thinking all this. And then all of a sudden it moves towards me. The pond's about 50 yards wide at that point. And it gets within 25 feet, maybe 30 feet of me. And it's jumping up and down 10 feet from the water up to about 10 feet and back down. And it's doing this light show, flashing. And so I'm fiddling, nervous, asking for protection and trying to get my courage to stay. And I pulled my cell phone up and I put it on video, but I forgot to hit record. Well, it knew that, and it kept on doing this light show. And then I looked up to see, how much recording I had done, and I noticed I didn't hit record. So when I did hit record, instead of this orb going up and down inside of this translucent entity, like the Predator, if you see that show, that's how they look.
Mm-hmm.
to look like that. But this orb is inside of that entity.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the light source. It's going up and down. It's rotating. So all of a sudden, it dims down to just an orb that would come on and go off. And I filmed that for another almost 18 minutes. But what it does is somehow it put this information in my thoughts. And it told me then trouble is coming. It's that time we warned you about. And you have to tell what you know. You have to get out and tell it. And I was still apprehensive, but seriously considering. And then the next weekend, Chris Jr. and I and a couple of friends went to the Outer Banks fishing. And I've got this on video. We fished most of the day and I was, worn out with rheumatoid arthritis. I was just completely shot. So I was laying down for an hour while they were cleaning fish. And I got up and started out the back door. And as soon as I opened the door, about 2 miles out, and we're at Cape Lookout, way out on the furthest tip on the East Coast, right out on where the shoals are. So this orb appears and zooms up to within 300 yards or less, and it's green and it's flashing. Then it turns to red and orange. But I got a good 3-minute video on that. You can hear all the boys talking, but what it did, it came to tell me how serious it was that I had to get out in the public. And so that week when I got home is when I started calling everybody saying I'm ready to talk.
When you, I almost said hear, but when you are asked to tell what you know, what is it that you know?
Well, my experience, I can't speak for anyone else, but from my experience, it's not like, in other words, when you use the word alien, that is a different meaning to the word of an angelic being or a celestial being.
Sure.
I'm clearly stating for the last 14 years, I've made it known that my interaction are with the angels. It's not with aliens. If you can call them that, but it's a different meaning. It's not like they fly up from, Pluto and the S-32B Star Cruiser and get out and want to meet us. These things they're like magic. They can hear your thoughts. They affect you. They protect you. It's the good versus evil thing. And I'm sure there are aliens everywhere, could be, but that's what I was told to tell. It's spiritual, it's biblical. And when I say biblical, there's things that I have been shown that Dr. Pasulka shared with me that she don't share publicly. She'll tell you, I gave him the information and I share it. But there are many accounts of these same beings, whoever they are, influencing people, 2,000 and 3,000 years ago, and they write about it. It's like the word cloud in the Bible was mistranslated intentionally by King James, according to Dr. Pasulka. And they made it into a weather phenomenon. But if you read these texts and you know what you're looking for, it always says that Jesus came in a cloud. He come riding on a cloud, riding in a cloud. And, with power and all this. So clearly, it's all connected to this biblical text. And, it's what do we know about that? I don't. I'm just saying it's not like alien. It's more based on good and evil. And it's playing out right now.
Why Easter? And we can follow up after the break. We've got a couple of minutes right now, but why Easter?
I don't know why Easter other than it's symbolic.
Yeah.
But the lady came on Easter of 2012. And she came again the following Easter, and then the third Easter after that, 2015, my wife and I and our kids were in the bed, lights out. My mother lived next door, and my niece moved in with her and her daughter, because my father died, and they were dog sitting her brother's dog a mile or so away. And they came home about 12:30 or 1 in the morning and took their little dog out to potty before they went back in the house and went to bed. But they're about 50 yards away, houses side by side in the country. And she looks and sees this glowing white female come out of our front door, through the door. And they're calling me, and you can hear them telling me with excitement what they're seeing. This lady comes through the door and is hovering in the air, dress flowing, and Stephanie catches eye contact. So does Anna. She's 9 years old and really excited. And then this lady kind of just leaves off in a streak of light. So that happened to, it didn't happen to me, but it happened directly to my family members, which changed the whole dynamics of how my family treated me at that time.
Let's take our break right here, Chris. Stay right there, and we're going to pick up right where we are leaving off. This is Fade to Black. Our guest tonight, the one and only Chris Bledsoe. We're talking about Easter right now, and we're going to talk about the other stuff when we come back that is going on in his world. And we're going to touch upon, of course, disclosure, what's going to happen in 2021 and beyond, and possibly some UFO headlines that are happening around the world, too, as well. All right? This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More with Chris when we come back after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Hello, my name is Billy Carson, and I am a best-selling author and the founder of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Together with my team, we have built an all-new conscious streaming TV platform designed with every family member in mind. If you have ever wanted to travel the world and attend lectures and workshops from your favorite speakers but weren't able to, look no further. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. There are dozens of workshops and lectures from speakers you know and love. We have also included amazing categories to assure that your consciousness is entertained and elevating on a daily basis. Amazing interviews, ancient history, ascension knowledge, wisdom teachings, documentaries, conspiracies, mysteries, health and fitness, conscious cooking, meditations, finance, yoga, and so much more. To start your free trial on any mobile device or computer, surf to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4, ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Again, visit ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer, Einstein, the ancient crystal skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. We are also Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True.
And one and only KGRA Radio, The Plant.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, Chris Bledsoe is here. Tomorrow night, Harvard's Professor Avi Loeb. We're going to be talking about his new book, Extraterrestrial. That's tomorrow night. Tonight, Chris Bledsoe. And Chris, right before the break, we were discussing some of these Easter events, and you told us about what happened in 2019. Did anything happen Easter 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic?
It did. In fact, I have a very personal experience. I was by myself again, and I was out working on my pickup truck, actually, and I look up. I sensed it first, and I look up towards the highway, which is about 1,000 feet or more up, a good quarter mile plus to the road, and I see there's a lot of pine trees between me and the highway, and I can see it coming through all the tops of these pine trees. And so I pulled my cell phone out, and it came right over top of me, and it was very slow, very low, and I think a lot of people have seen these videos I've been putting out, and they look like a Dropa, those craft from the feather incident. You know, rotating, spinning mass of plasma with a hole in the center. So that was the experience I had then, and that's when it then again put stuff in my head. And it's crazy how they do it, but it becomes something that I don't know. I know where it's coming from. It's coming before I did. I'm thinking these things. Why am I seeing this in my dreams? And it becomes overwhelming until I just have to understand. I know it's from them. In fact, Ryan was talking to Jim Semivan a few weeks ago, and he said, we know he's it, and we know that they're putting stuff in his head. And, they know this stuff. And that's when I I knew for sure. Remember I talked with you on Facebook one night or something we were talking about, and I said just, lock the doors and stock your cabinets. That was the reason I was saying that. Because I knew 2020.
That was the 2020 message.
Yeah.
The Easter's coming up, April 4th, in 3 weeks. Obviously, you're going to be prepared for that day. Do you expect people showing up at your house?
Well, that's happened quite a few times, and I have guests to come. It used to be when I lived in the other place, I had guests showing up where it would be 20 or 30 people sleeping in my yard. My wife's come home and they're camping in my yard, so we moved into this 15 acres on a small cabin and really cut that off to only certain people like scientists and friends, and the boys bring friends. In fact, Ryan, my son, had a friend fly in from Washington about a month ago. His name's Nick Hinton, if you're listening, Nick. And he's an author, he's written a couple books. And
yeah, Nick's pretty cool. Nick's been on the show. Actually, what's funny about that? I know Ryan is listening right now. I'm kicking it at the house. Last month, I get this random text in from Ryan, and Ryan goes, "Hey, man, do you know Nick Hinton?" I said, "I sure do." He goes, "He's sitting here with me right now. He says hello." Small world, huh? I was like, "Wow." I had no idea that they knew each other, but that was a lot of fun to get that from Ryan. Now, I wanted to ask you that. Okay, now. And I appreciate the distinction between what most people perceive as aliens or ET or extraterrestrials and what you are experiencing. But then there's another part to this, though, Chris, where you have seen craft. So what is going on with that part of it where you're seeing a physical craft, but yet you're making the distinction between alien and another phenomena altogether?
Well, I think there's both, Jimmy, and let's just say I have a strange suspicion based on connections that I have that some of this could be what's perceived as Atlanteans that live underneath the sea. And but I can tell you, I have witnessed these orbs that I basically coined them orbs 14 years ago, and that's basically what everybody sees now. But these things can mimic anything. I've seen them appear in front of me, boom, with people standing here, and Nick Hinton saw it, and then they start flashing, and all of a sudden they look like a helicopter or an airplane and fly away. They can mimic wooden sailing ships. Remember, in the 1800s, there were wooden ships, and there were balloons, and the Indians, the Native Americans, some of them had this white stone canoe. It's a very great legend of this white orb, but it's shaped like a canoe flying around. And so I don't know, but I do think there's a good chance that we're not the only ones created by these beings. But I think that there appear these orbs that when you walk outside and all of a sudden it appears and it's almost like it knew your thoughts. Well, it does.
Is there a way, if you are, and I want to talk specifically about some of these visions, but are these warnings, are we able to change our future?
Yeah, absolutely we can. And this is the thing I saw. A lot of people may think it's a lunacy, but I'm just repeating what I was told. And I was told, and remember, when I say it's biblical, I'm still confused because I was a Baptist. I was raised a Baptist, and I didn't know a lady. The Catholics perceive her as the Virgin Mary. But when you start researching this, thousands and hundreds of thousands of years old. So I've been pretty confused about how it all stacks up, because now I've got this new figure in here, and so it's totally different in the way I was raised, but I still see, it's warnings. They're coming to warn us that if we don't change our path, like the Hopi, and it's straight up, I challenge everybody to start doing the research and look, since all this negativity started. Look at the weather, what's going on with the climate. Look at what's going on with earthquakes. Look at the volcanoes. And this only gets worse. There's like 49 volcanoes spewing ash in the air, which can blot the sun out, create worse crop failures. And I don't want to sound like doomsday, but we're in it right now. And if we can change this negativity and bring this frequency, because see, the earth is a diode. It's like a big atom, like part of an atom. We're like subatomic particles, the sun being the nucleus. And this is the way she made me see this thing. And she said it's a diode. It creates its own energy, and we all live and swim in that energy. And that energy is information. It was programmed. And we have a great effect on that. The more there's fear and negativity, the worse this earth will shake. And I'm just repeating what I was shown. And I think if you'll look, that's where we're heading. It's raining and flooding all over Saudi Arabia, Jordan, snowing, and record snow, record rain all around the world. And all this stuff's going to get worse unless we can all come together and quit being divided.
The pandemic, I want to move forward, but the pandemic, the numbers are slowing down, right? The numbers are coming down. Are you getting any messages about that? Are we at the end of this, and can we start to worry about other things?
Well, I'm afraid that there's going to be another wave of that, or something similar or mutated from that. We'll have to see. But it's a race against happiness. It's all based on our vibrations, being happy or in fear. But we can save it. We can change it. We can go up them steps, or we can go down them, like the Hopi portrayed in those rock drawings. And two, I think the Earth is on a clock cycle. It's the first time this has happened. Many civilizations.
Yeah, for sure. But how do we do that? I mean, how do we, when we're in the middle of this craziness right now, Chris, how do we get to happy when everybody is not happy? I mean, many billions of people are suffering.
Well, and we can't voice our opinion. How are you going to get happy?
I know, right? It starts with Pepe Le Pew, Chris. I'm telling you. That's the last straw.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's happening. But I don't know. We just all have to pray and find happiness in for everyone. Just, it's pretty simple. We live and treat each other like we would want to be treated. And I think fear is what's driving all this right now. People are in fear, like you said, all around the world. And this weather is crazy. Rivers running red. What, 5 or 6 rivers in the overseas that are blood red, and locusts like they've never seen in Saudi Arabia and all over Asia. So it's pretty crazy what's going on.
Yeah, I did see some video of the locust swarms over there. That certainly biblical comes to mind here. And with these references, the direct religious references, what do we ultimately do with that? Because we have science that we have to deal with, and then we have what appears to be some kind of religious biblical message that is happening here. There are many people on this planet that aren't religious at all, and they're dealing with this.
Exactly, and I don't say I'm religious. You know, I don't go to church. My wife and kids, some of them do, most of them, but you know, I got ostracized from there and I'm accepted now if I go, but this world's been here a long time, and the biblical stories are connected to these lights in the sky. And there are many different types of beings, and some of them, they called them angels or messengers. They didn't call them all angels. Some of them would harm you. In fact, I've been told about 20% of all experiencers, there's about 15 to 20% is negative. And so I just don't know. I know I struggle to understand it, but I do know that it's listening, and I'm just delivering what they asked me to do, to tell this message that we need to be happy and to like Jesus said. Oh, he said when he came, he said, if you could see what's going on, if you had the faith of a mustard seed, that parable, basically he's saying, you could do whatever I do. You can make a mountain move. So he's telling us we're in an illusion. We just have to see. And I don't know. Yeah. I know in the biblical end we win. There comes peace.
There is, although I struggle with religion. Okay, and I'm getting a weird echo. I don't know if it's your earpiece or something, but I'm hearing myself play back. So hold your phone closer to your ear or your earpieces. But anyway, when it comes to the religious side of things, I'm getting a weird echo. I don't know what that is. I don't know how to deal with that, where there's science, there's this ET component, there is life out there in the universe, and is that what people are referencing as God? You know, and have been confused with that over millennia. I struggle with this. I really do. And your experiences are happening, a lot of them happen on Easter, and they have this religious component to it. And I believe that these experiences of yours are real. So I struggle with this just like everybody else does, Chris, where we have to step back and once again question everything.
But see, I basically, when it happened to me, I was thrilled to be parents tell me, you're dealing with the devil, you're dealing with aliens and all this. And so I kind of, I had to learn on my own. I haven't studied other people's experiences because I didn't want to put somebody else's in my, what they're saying in my thoughts. I wanted to figure this out for myself. And until the lady came, I was totally confused. And I'm still confused. You might feel like that, she's been around for close to 850,000 years, we know, based on artifacts found. So that wipes out the Virgin Mary for me. which I didn't think that's who it was to start with. And why is she flying around in these machines? She actually came through an opening in the forest. But in the Fatima, there were 3 of these silver egg-shaped Tic Tacs, basically, that came down, and out came this little woman, and they had 100,000 people that witnessed it. So, and then, it's confused me as far as religion. I'm not selling religion. I'm just saying to the people that the church people have been told they're these Nephilim, that they're these fallen angels. Well, that's not true either. Just read the scripture and you'll understand that that's basically made up. There's very little reference to the Nephilim, and when it comes down to it, they're the men of renown. They were the sons of that union, they say. But
has the Vatican reached? I've never asked you this before. Has the Vatican reached out to you?
Well, Dr. Pasulka works for them. She has a contract with them, and she's been there. And she was, and other friends that I introduced her to, she took them there. And yeah, they have recognized this. Some of these people. Last time I talked about this, I got in trouble.
Would you welcome a visit from a cardinal? A bishop?
Sure. If he wanted to come, I'd show him from my perspective. I don't need a preacher to give me what I've got here.
Right.
I don't. Right. That's why I'm not selling religion. I don't need somebody to feed it to me. I walk out the door and hear the come. Nick Hinton can tell you that. He saw at least 12 or 15 that came. Amazing. Some of them fairly close. But it's. I'm totally perplexed too when it comes to how it's all. I don't think nobody will ever figure it out, but I do know that there are these beings that are coming out of the sky, and they're in these orbs, and they're telling me to warn the people that we need to bring about peace and happiness, and things will settle down.
Now, the comparisons to Fatima are right there. They're right in front of us. I just watched the new movie, by the way, Fatima, the other day, and it was pretty interesting. And I thought about you a lot during this. What are you going to do if you have 50,000 people show up at your door? Which is not out of the realm of possibility here, Chris.
Well, I understand. Maybe we'd all get together, and I probably don't have enough room for that many, but we might could fit that many on 15 acres. Maybe something would happen. Amazing. But I don't know. I'd have to see that, Jim, to give you an answer there. But
would you allow me to set up a Fade to Black T-shirt stand? Could I do that at the at the front of your property? And in a way, I'm being funny, but this is something that many have been waiting for a very long time. And you saw what happened in Fatima, and that was without the internet. That was without social media.
Exactly. See, when this happened to me, Jim, I'd never heard of Fatima. I'd never heard of Lourdes, France, or the Song of Bernadette. I'd never heard of Guadalupe. And when it happened, I'm like, oh, my God, who was this woman? All I could think of was she would be she's in charge of these angels. They listen to her. She commands them. And one of the earliest things that I was shown by government friends kind of under the table. He said, they told me to read this book about the Hess in the Mojave incident.
Oh, yeah.
He said,
yeah, I've had them on the show, both of them.
Right. Well, pretty much the same characters in their story, and that's when they zeroed in on us. And, you know, also on the night of the Cape Fear River, when in 2007, all of us described this egg shape or tic-tac hovering, and it was 40 to 50 foot long, 100 yards in front of my truck, and it was 5 feet off the ground sideways, so we could see it plainly. Had all this light going around it that looked like these spikes. But they said, bingo, this thing's 46 foot long, and we knew it. And that was part of the, people wonder how I got tangled up with some of these people is because of what I described. And when these beings appeared, these little beings that had triangles on their chest, well, that was another big thing that they picked up on. Not knowing that, the symbol had been in crashes or so-called crashes. And then, there's a lot of symbolism on the dollar and everything about a triangle.
Yeah, for sure. Chris, stay right there. Let's take our break. Let's get that in. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church, tonight, Chris Bledsoe. We are talking about all of the latest developments in and around his life and what is going on. The messages, of course, Easter. And we're going to talk about some other stuff when we come back. And disclosure in 2021. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. Fadernauts. When you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Chris Bledsoe. More with Chris in just a second. Right now, I want to talk to you about Virtual Shield VPN. You need a VPN. You need it now. It's the only VPN I will ever use because they have a strict no-log policy, and it's all built into their software from the ground up for your privacy protection. Virtual Shield routes your internet through advanced encrypted servers across the globe to prevent your internet service provider, whoever they are, from being able to track your internet traffic. That's right. Go to virtualshield.com right now. virtualshield.com/fade to black. Do that. You will get Virtual Shield VPN for 50% off today. And if you don't want to type into your browser, just click on the link right below in the video description box. You will get Virtual Shield VPN for 50% off today. Get Virtual Shield now. All right. Our guest tonight, Chris Bledsoe. And Chris, I think I heard you mention in the last break a new lady. Did you say that?
No, if I did, I didn't mean it that way. It's the same lady. She's new to me, right? I mean, it's a totally new thing to tie this lady figure into what I was raised with. I was raised a Baptist, which is there is the mother of Jesus goes away in very few words in the Bible. It's not even in there much about her. And then I meet this woman, and I got these people that are believe in the Catholic. They want to label her that automatically, and I'm like, well, I don't know her that way, and I just don't see how it could be the same person.
In the Fatima case, and it was in the movie over and over again, where the Catholic Church is trying to get the three kids to say that this is the Virgin Mary, right? And they put the big pressure on them for that. Are you getting the same types of pressure from others to confirm that this is the Virgin Mary, the Mother Mary?
Well, I've had it from both sides. I had a friend that if I said his name, everybody would know. But he said, you got to write a book. I said, where do I start? I don't know where to start. And he said, I'd start with the lady. A billion people know her as the Virgin Mary, the Fatima lady, when it may not be her, it's somebody else. So I think it's the Hesses called her the Comforter. She appeared, when they were frightened and afraid, and she came.
Yeah, there is. I didn't even think about the Mojave incident and the Hesses. Now I've had the Hesses on a couple of times, and they moved out of Southern California. They're in another state now. But I was able to get the both of them on the show. And their conversations with me, and for anybody out there that wants to go and listen, it is a fantastic Fade to Black show with the Hesses. Their recollection and detail of everything is just astounding. It's just an incredible show to listen to. Chris, I would suggest you go and listen to that. The book is one thing, but go and listen to the Mojave incident here on Fade to Black with the Hesses.
I would.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. But with you, if you could, for the audience that may not know what we are talking about, the first time the lady appeared in front of you, take us through that, and what did you see?
Well, let me explain why I know she came, and then I'll go through it. But for 5 years before that, after the initial experience on the river, and for 5 years afterwards, it was a really dark time for our family. We had nobody to help. that could help anyone. And our kids were young and they were frightened. And, Chris Jr. was 17 and went through a severe trauma face to face with these beings. And I come out smiling and said they're angels, and everybody's, oh my God, it's fear. And so for 5 years, I had all this people all over me, either calling me a liar or telling me I'm dealing with Lucifer or some alien somewhere. So I kind of went into hiding until 2012. And that Easter, I had basically decided that year, the year before, I'd never talk again. I'm never going to tell this again. All the while, for those 5 years, we had tremendous activity in the house, beings in the house, 2 at the time, walking and wiping kids, follow them down the hall, and they go through the walls and stuff. And you'd have to hear them tell it. Orbs, big golden orbs or craft, looked like a triangle or an ice cream cone, all kinds of stuff. They were seeing, the kids were seeing, the wife and I. And we just were isolated, basically, and had nowhere to turn, nobody to talk to. And I decided it had to all go away. And then 2012, about 3 o'clock in the morning, it was dead on 3 because I woke up. I jumped up from asleep to a sitting position in fright because of this very loud, thunderous voice that was very loud and my audible. At least it sounded audible to me because I jumped up in a position, and it was totally dark, and the clock said 3 a.m. and I said, "Who's here?" I heard that, and next thing I know, I was walking out the door following these 3 entities. And it was like they had total control over me. And now I'm fully dressed. I got all my clothes on, my shoes on, my coat on, and they led me out of the house and led me over to this dog kennel, which is the same area that everything happened that night with Chris and I when we got back home. And this entity, shadowy being, they always look shadowy or like a ghost, you might say. I have a picture, a photo, very close photo of 2 beings peeping around a tree, and they look like that. It's amazing. The closer you get, the more detail you see. But anyhow, it handed me this object and said, "This is yours, you must keep." And that's the way he said it. And I reached my hands out, and they put this thing in my hand that felt like like a pack of hamburger meat, cube sausage or something on that shape, a tube. But it felt like a living being, a creature, a dog or a squirrel, or I didn't know what it was because it had fur, but it was prickly, and it felt like a living creature, and it dark. I didn't know what I had in my hand, so I dropped it on the ground and said, "No, you must keep this." So when I reached down to pick it up, I'm afraid of what I've got in my hand. They're gone. There's nothing there in front of me. So here I've got this object, and I'm standing near this big kennels that my father had for many years since I was born. Good. He's always raised lots of dogs, traded and sold hunting dogs. Well, I opened this first kennel and stuck this thing in, and I felt relief that I've got it. It can't go nowhere. It's in this kennel. And when I closed the door, all of a sudden this burst of wind hits me, and I look up and I see these really big oak trees everywhere. And I see this tree disappear in front of me, and out of that dark forest come this translucent, it looked solid as it's coming at me. It was really fast, but when it went over me, I noticed it was translucent. But it was a bull, like a 1,500 pound, 5 foot to the back bull. And I fell over on my back as it went over me. And I rolled over to my stomach and was getting up to run, all in the same motion. It all happened so quick. It was like seconds. And I'm wondering where this bull went. I've got to protect myself. But when I put my hands on the ground and raised myself up, I never got off my knees, because 6 foot from me, just out of arm's reach, was this beautiful lady that I can't describe. Her dress looked like stars in the sky twinkling. It was white and it was flowing. My good friend Doug Auld from New York, he's an artist and a real good one. He did a painting of her, and it's a 5 foot tall painting, and he created it out of his own thoughts based on me giving him the information. But now she's hovering 6 feet from me. Her feet are about my chin high, and she looks at me, and I'm trying to get my composure, and she says, "You know why I'm here." And it was my failure to listen to these entities. They told me they were the guardians. They take care of this planet. It was like a terrarium that they tend to everything. They create the life. They manage it. I mean, they do it all. They protect us if we ask. And she explained all this to me. My doubt in them is why I decided I wouldn't go forward. I was doubting everything. The local churches were bringing holy water to my house. When I'd leave, they would go around my property. So you can imagine it drove me into not talking. Well, she came and she said, "You got to tell this story because bad in your lifetime." She told me that. She said that there are people in power, didn't say who, that are using the Bible as a script. They want to bring about the end of time, the Armageddon and all that stuff. And she said, we can change that. And that's when she explained to me about this frequency, how the earth is a dihold, and it creates this energy, and it's all information, and we're all a part of that. And our emotions can change this, where we live. There was much more. She's warned of war. In fact, this past Easter in 2020, part of that message was, and I said this on Project Unity, I think, that I worry about war with China and Iran. That was part of what she told me in 2012. And so we're all facing it right now. We're there. And it could go either way. And I just don't have the answer. I can just tell the people that, what I'm experiencing.
It sounds like, well, let me jump in for a second. I need your comment on this. When you put everything in that context, it sounds like she is removing the Bible from the event. That it is not a religious. The others are trying to make it religious, but it is not. That's what it sounds like to me, Chris.
Well, that's where I'm going with it. And what is it with these beings that were Jesus? It's coming on clouds. Well, we know the word cloud was mistranslated, and the actual word is, it can be said as an object in the sky or an opening, is another name, but these silver disc or orbs are referenced in the Bible as beings. Some of them are angels and some of them are not. So, and there's a chance that I've been involved around, some think these Atlanteans, based on some of the stuff I've described. So we've had a lot of experience with a lot of different stuff over the last 14 years. And I just wished I had more detail, but I do know that these beings are coming, and I'm filming them and I'm videoing them, and people are seeing them here with me. And I know what they're putting in my head, and that is warning that we're heading into dark territory if we don't wake up.
What do you make of other, including myself, by the way, others around the world that are seeing these types of craft in the sky and that appear to be brought in consciously with intention? Is this, are they communicating with others around the world and not just you?
I think they're communicating with all of us in different ways, like in music. Musicians are artists, painters, Hollywood folks. These artists that use expression, a lot of them are experiencing this stuff. They just don't know. They're scared of it. They don't know what to do with it. But some people experience it more than others. So no, it's not just me. A lot of people experience this, and somehow they can see an orb in the sky, and all of a sudden it's the Pleiadians, and it got a name for them, and the thing it was driving. So there's a lot of confusion out there, but there's a lot of real experience happening. And one of the things they told me was that they wanted the truth out. They wanted us all to wake up, and that they were going to start appearing more and more around the world, and they were going to help me. I said this in 2019. The angel said, we're going to help you with witnesses, with video, and with photo. That was Easter 2019. Well, I get a call or an email from Dr. Bob McGuire, and it says, hello, I'm Dr. Bob McGuire from the Hume Center of National Technology at Virginia Tech. I'd like to come visit with you. Well, he did. Finally, he and Sharon, after Christmas. And he had a real experience. And what a witness he's been. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting all these amazing videos. They're starting to appear more and more. And then I get this night vision camera in the mail from somebody in San Diego. And then I get this Minolta or Nikon P9000 or 900, and every filter. I mean, I've been showered with this stuff this year, and it's all happening exactly like they told me, and I told it in 2019. So I probably got 50 videos in 1 month or 6 weeks over Christmas with that little night vision thing, Psionics night vision camera. I love it, but I haven't been able to use it for a month because of the rain. 5 weeks it's been raining and cold, and I don't go out much in the cold.
Yeah, I have one of those too. I have one of those Psionics. I don't use it as often as I should. That's the color night vision camera, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have one of those. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I've got some pretty amazing videos with it, but the best ones are with my cell phone because it's always in my pocket, and I don't go out and meditate and do all that. I don't do that. I just go out, heading to my shop or going to feed my dog or the ducks, and here they are. They're waiting on me usually, but there are times when people come and they want to see things, and I just go out and speak to them, just like they're friends, just like you would a neighbor. And I mention it's like a little prayer, kind of, and it's just direct language to them. And here they come, sometimes 10, 15 or more, and it's obvious.
What did you make of American Airlines 2292 3 weeks ago with that cylindrical object that was sighted flying over their commercial aircraft? And I don't know if you heard the radio recording from pilot to tower on that, but what did you make of that when you heard about it?
Well, I didn't hear about it, but I'm sure well, I'll tell you what I make about it. It's a big step forward that the pilot's able to put that publicly. So I'm a commercial rated pilot, and everybody knows if you get to talking about that publicly, you're going to lose your license or your job. But now all of a sudden it's information being shared. So it's a step towards disclosure.
What do you think? We're going to come back after the break and continue this, but what do you think with all of the developments that have been going on, what 2021 has in front of us in terms of disclosure?
Well, I think it's going to be, I think it's going to get controversial in what it is we're dealing with. And I don't think you're going to get that from the government. Not sure that they have that much information, but I think they're going to share more and make it real. And maybe Congress will allow funding to start researching this stuff. I'd sure like to have, a team here helping figure this stuff out. But
what did you make of the news when you found out that Lou Elizondo and Chris Mellon left TTSA, and where that leaves TTSA now? Because it appears that they are focusing on the Senate and the Intelligence Committee and UAPs, not necessarily from your point of view, with this, with the lady and the messages. What do you think is going on there?
Well, they have different information. I don't have all the outside information they would have, like pilot reports and all, but I can tell you that Ryan can tell you that even Jim told him that he was sure that I was right about this for the most part.
I mean, do you think that Lou and Chris would speak to the Senate about not only what you've been going through, but the other aspects of this, because it would take away the fear aspect of what these UAPs are, the invasion of our airspace and the military and the safety of this and the citizens of the country, which is the angle that, of course, the UAP task force is always going to take, with the Senate. But you have the exact opposite of what these things may be.
Right, but based on some knowledge I'm aware of, there's a good chance that there may be something else coming in, like I was saying, from the ocean, the Atlanteans. I've heard that theory. I'm not sold on it, but I've heard that. And I just know there's classified information that did not released and probably won't. And I don't know what that information is, but I was told that there is a small percentage that has been negative, and it was classified.
Now, you brought up, we've got 2 minutes, Chris, before the break. You brought up the Atlanteans now 3 or 4 times in this conversation tonight. Has the lady mentioned Atlanteans to you?
No. I'm just saying, based on some of the reports I've made, that's been told to me by different ones that I've met and worked with in the past. That's their idea of what it might be. And I'm not doubting some of that could be possible. Because but I'm sure there are multiple things happening. Maybe layers of things, dimensions from other dimensions. So we can't rule anything out.
No, we can't.
We can't. I'm just saying that these beings that are coming, they're like the watchers. You hear that in the Bible, the watchers. They're the ones watching over us and watching over nature and all life and animals. And they're these little white orbs. You walk outside and you see it come on and blink at you and flash and then fly away. I mean, I know a lot of people seen that kind of stuff. Or you go out and you meditate, or you get groups together and here they come. It's all based on emotion. emotion. You get out and you get ugly and dark, negative, you're not going to see anything. If you do, it might be something you don't want to see. But if you go out and your emotions are of the positive light and happiness and love, some people say, just humble your heart and they come. So my experience has been direct interaction based on that emotion, in an angelic type way. It's all emotion. Frequency.
You mentioned earlier, I've only got about 30 seconds, but I don't want to forget about this. You mentioned earlier that all of this just may be part of Earth, that it isn't interstellar, that it isn't coming from, the stars and visiting us and somehow getting here, that this is actually a part of this Earth, and what we are seeing is from here. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, and then add in these other dimensions. They're coming through from some other dimension, a lot of these entities. They come out of orbs. I have video of orbs approaching the camera, and all of a sudden a flash, and out steps this entity. And I have videos of them walking, small entities glowing, and pictures of them. And they just appear. They don't have to come in a spacecraft. They just appear, like in a flash of light, or this orb appears, and they're always around us. I have photos, Jimmy, of clouds. You reverse the image to black and white, and all of a sudden you see these round balls and all these clouds around. They're there. They're always there.
It's
they
fascinating.
Call them clouds. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Let's take our break right here. Chris, stay right there. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Chris Bledsoe. Amazing conversation, and we will continue everything when we come back after this short break. This is Fade to Black. Stay with us.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to GetTheT.com, shop.
News and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from River Moon. Just click on the River Moon Coffee banner at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2B Blend.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KCOM.
When you're in the house for longer periods of time, you can see them flying or running across the floor. Ooh, yuck. They're unhealthy, gross, and disgusting. Bugs. I loathe bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. On contact, it kills hidden bugs, including ants, roaches, and fleas. Plus, Orange Guard is a residual repellent. All of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally recognized as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard. Available at orangeguard.com, Whole Foods, and Ace Hardware.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, Chris Bledsoe. Want to remind everybody, tomorrow night, Harvard's Avi Loeb is going to be here, and we are going to talk about his new book, Extraterrestrial. And getting back to our conversation, Chris, we know that Easter is coming up April 4th. Can I get you back on the show right after Easter to discuss anything that may have happened?
Sure, absolutely.
Do you... yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say it may take me a day or two to process what happened, but I'd be glad to.
Are you going to have video and cameras at the ready?
I definitely will. And I've been lucky at that every year. I mean, you don't get lucky getting video. You get it because they allow you to. Everybody in this knows that, or at least those that are out trying to film it. It's entirely almost impossible to film unless they want you to.
I wanted to ask you this. There has been so many reports of mantid beings and Nordics and little gray entities and ETs and the EB1 and EBN1 and over the decades. What do you make of that versus what you have experienced yourself?
Well, I don't know. I can't speak for others or what their experiences are, but I don't doubt, any of that stuff. It's hard for me to believe that a bug is smart enough to fly around in a spacecraft and create one, but people say they see it. Maybe they were just imitating that, so you wouldn't understand who they are. I think they can appear however they want to. It didn't harm them, so why would a bug come to interact with a person and change their life and make them UFO nuts? You know what I'm saying? And they were a bug. It doesn't make sense. I think that they appear. Let's say this for an idea. When in 1947, when Kenneth Arnold saw these little bat wing shaped objects, and he described them and drew them out, but somebody on the television said, well, they were like saucers, flying saucers, skipping on a pond. Well, for the next 20 years, everybody sees flying saucers. And then all of a sudden they're gone. And then it's triangles. And then when I came along in 2007, it was orbs. I never saw a craft. I saw these like a tic-tac. It looks like a glowing tic-tac or a football with light that revolves all around it. So it's hard to see. the metal. So I think they change over time. In the 1800s, they were flying ships. In fact, I've read a report in England where one of them was sails and all threw out an anchor and snagged a chimney as it flew over London. So, why? And you know, airships. So, what is all that about? And it appears the way I think they know best. These things are intelligent, and they're watching us, and they're listening, and they're interfering or affecting all of us.
Do you think what Captain Fravor saw is what you have been witnessing?
Well, yeah. Read the reports of what it looks like. They've got photo and video of them right 40 feet from the cockpit, and they describe looking inside of this swirling mass of plasma, like same like these orbs I'm filming, swirling inside. It's light. It's not like a physical object there, not like a machine. It's just they describe it the same way.
What about the videos? When you watch those videos, did they seem familiar to you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, if you look at MUFON, not MUFON, but Discovery Channel, and they came in 2008, they did this little computer animation and played it on that episode, and it is of a tic-tac with spikes sticking out of it, and them spikes were the light as it rotated around, but it was exactly a tic-tac. And I said it was about 45 or 50 foot long. Well, those guys that was filming it and videoing it and seeing it, they knew it was 46 foot long, and it looked exactly like the thing I showed, or the Discovery Channel thing. So that put them on my trail really quick. They knew it then.
Chris, what do you make of the entities that have been in your home, and that Chris Jr. came face to face with too as well on January 8th back in 2007? Are these all connected to the lady?
Yeah, it was them that introduced me to her. Remember, there were 3 of these beings that came in and led me to the forest, and then all of a sudden deserted me, and then this lady came, and I knew they took me to her. And she has charge over them.
Has she
like
only appeared to you on Easter?
Twice, yeah, 2 different Easters. But I get the information from her when these orbs appear. I still see her in my when this information comes. It's just like she's talking, and I receive it in light and in dreams. And my daughter had the same thing happen this week. She described orbs inside of this. She said it looked like sea creatures, like jellyfish. And these orbs were bouncing around inside of them. My daughter is a magnet. All these kids are. Ryan too. They can go out and take friends out and see it. I mean, it appears around them like with no problem.
Have the 2 times that she was actually in front of you, which was on Easter, was there any sensation of heat? Did you get
No.
sunburns or anything like that? Any radiation involved?
No, none of that. Other than just a life-changing experience. It turned me from being silent, never speaking again, to you could not contain me. After that night, I had to tell it, and within 2 weeks, I was telling it at a MUFON event in Ashburn, North Carolina. That's where I met Dr. Pasolka, and I knew that they guided us together so I could get this information about the biblical connection. There is so much connection between the biblical characters. Now, who were they? still we got to understand, but it goes all the way back into the all of it. Ezekiel and Elisha and Elijah and John the Baptist, when he baptized Jesus, it says, and a gray cloud appeared, a gray one, and spoke. Now, what kind of cloud is speaking? And it said, this is my son, listen to him. It's throughout the whole Bible, and all this was given to me by Dr. Pasolka, and she works with the Vatican and more. A lot of other people involved in this too.
The staying with the lady for a second, do you anticipate? Do you think that she will be here April 4th?
I think so, and I think in time she's going to appear to a lot of us. Maybe like a Fatima thing is possible. I just keep getting this this message that to be ready. They're going to appear with more witnesses and maybe in a big way.
I listening to the orbs in the sky and the manifesting different shapes, but you haven't seen a metallic side of this. But I saw a daylight UFO. It was giant, but this was hard edged. This wasn't lit up like things that I've seen at night. I don't know. I think that was extraterrestrial. I don't think that was a message from God. It was a beer can in the sky that was 500 feet tall.
Right. Well, this was basically, let's just say I was in Ohio with some friends. Actually, it was with Diana's friend Tyler. You hear him talk about. He and I were in a car in Zanesville, Ohio, riding, and there were other people with us. And my mother and my niece, home alone, sitting on the patio out back, my house next door. They look up towards my house, and there's this big man with a row of lights down the side of it, just above the top of my house in the trees, barely over the trees. And they said it went from the highway to on past my property, which is 600 feet. So it was huge, took up the whole sky. And she said it just like got wavy and vanished right in front of them. Well, they called me and told me that Tyler actually heard it.
What color was it?
It was gray metallic.
Really? Was there any to you about this craft? I don't want to suggest anything. I just want to hear directly from you. Did they identify anything else about this?
Yeah, they said when they looked up, there was this big thing, bigger and longer than a football field, right over the top of my house, completely engulfed the sky. And look, and I had a garden that was fenced in with a 4-foot chain link fence to keep the bunnies out. And there, sitting on top of my garden fence, was a huge white owl, and it took off and flew straight at them. And went right over top of them, about 5 feet over both of them's head. And then when it got to the garage out back, it lifted up and flew on out of sight. They were telling about this thing and this owl all at the same time. So that was the only detail. This amazing white owl, which they had never seen, was just up there at the same time, appeared and flew right over them.
Well, I didn't see a white owl, but that would have freaked me out if I would have had that combination at the same time. There's another aspect to this that you just brought up, which is the transition of flying saucers, to black triangles. Lots of cylinders out there. The black triangle aspect of this is fascinating to me. But I think of the military first before I think extraterrestrial. I may be wrong, but ultimately, could that be what's going on?
Well, I think that the military probably has some of that they're experimenting with or trying to. I don't know that they have anti-gravity. They may, but that's from my experience. Just from the questions I get based on working with different ones about electrons and the way they move and which direction and how to make it work. It tends to make me believe that they don't have all of what everybody thinks. And that's why I've always maintained that idea. It's just based on who I know. And I have friends in some pretty amazing places.
What do you think? We know that this report's going to come out in June with the UAP task force from the Pentagon over to the Senate. Do you expect anything to be revealed in this report?
I don't. I think that they may show a few more photos. They may not release it to the public, but Congress will get to see it. And I think there'll be a door open to funding to study this stuff. And there's been mentioned to me that they'd like to come here and study the Zorbs. So I think it'll all happen, and it'll open the door to, in fact, it's real. Now we got to find out what it is. And I think that's what you'll see.
When Tom DeLonge was on the show 3 years ago, he said one thing in the middle of the interview that caught me by surprise, and I think it surprised a lot of people, where he said that inside of the Pentagon and in Washington, D.C., that there are those there that are making a connection directly to religion and what we are seeing in the skies. Do you think that Tom got that from you?
No. I think that most of that place feels that way. That's why they never would acknowledge it and study it. They've been studying it for 50 years or 80 years, forever. And they just leave it alone. A lot of those generals are very religious people, and it's like out of bounds, you might say.
Why do you think Tom, I'm sure you didn't listen to the interview, but he said one thing. He said, you need to be careful about what you're summoning in and consciously trying to make connections to. That
you do. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I agree to that 100%. Summoning, you don't know what you're going to get. And if you're not in the right place spiritually, then you open yourself up to being something you may not want. And there's that 20% that I'm saying that is harmed to people. People died from this. I've heard that. So yeah, you have to be careful. That's why I'm not into the C5 thing where they try to teach it. How are you going to teach something if you don't know yourself? You know, you got to be careful. Just go out and you got to be right. You got to understand the light from the dark. That's all I'm saying. And I think most people know that, but.
Why do you think that there is chatter today, very loud chatter inside of the UFO community about a false flag event with an extraterrestrial invasion? Why do you think this chatter, where there's smoke, there's fire? I always look at things that way. Why do you think this chatter is going around? Do you think this is being started inside of Washington, or is it coming from somewhere else?
Well, I can say that I heard that as far back as 7-8 years ago.
From who?
From some. Well, I can't say who, but I can say it's in the aerospace industry that they had heard there were plans to create something false, and that's as far as I can go there. Who, I don't know. There's just so maybe other people heard that same thing and are seeing this move about in the Senate now, Congress. Maybe they're expecting something negative, but some evil alien thing. But I don't know that you're going to see that right away.
Well, how would they?
That's why I say
How would they pull that off? They pull that off with technology, showing something in the sky, or they would just do it with reports and social media and just go that route, where it's not going to be an alien invasion in the sky, but it's going to be talked about in social media. How would they do it? How would something like that even happen?
Well, I can tell you things I've heard in the past. I heard that they had the technology in Desert Storm to put Muhammad in the sky and stop the whole war.
Yeah, I heard that happened too. That's how they got the Iraqi army to surrender and lay down arms.
Yeah. So if they can do that 20 years ago, they can do even greater things now.
Absolutely unbelievable. When was the last, as we start to wind down here, Chris, when was the last contact that you made this year?
Oh, shoot. It's on my phone. Like I said, I haven't been out much in a month, but a couple of weeks ago, I got this in May. I went out, and it was a decent night. And as soon as I sat down, it appeared over my head, and I took this pretty good video with the psionics. But it's pretty much all the time, Jim. If I go out, most of the time, something's going to appear and come flying up curious, and it's just, it happens. Nick Hinton can tell you. Get him on the show and let him tell you. He had just gotten here, and they were all wanting to go to eat, and it wasn't quite dark yet. They wanted to go to dinner and then come back. And as we were going to the car, I looked up, and of course it was a clue to me. We're here, and we're going to cooperate. And it went out. So I walked up to the door. Nick and Ryan were getting everybody out of the house to go. Come on, let's get in the car. I said, well, they're here already. And so Nick and Ryan and I walked over to where I saw it. I said, it's right there. It's right there in front of us. I just saw it. It hadn't gone anywhere. And then all of a sudden it appears right in front of us and flashed twice and took off. And then here come a fighter jet from Fort Bragg roaring like you wouldn't believe, and went like it was chasing it. And he got to see all that.
Nick Hinton did.
Yeah.
And
get him to tell you.
Yeah, well, I will. I can call him right now. The sighting like that with Nick there, do you also get a message at the same time, or is this just a visual?
Every time there's a visual, that's why I said it takes a while to process it. Within a day or so, I get these visions that come, and it's like overwhelming. It's not normally right then. It's usually overnight or the next day. It's like all this information comes, and I have to sort it out between my own thoughts and what I'm being, some people call it downloads. Maybe it is. But they're sending information through the light. When you look at that light, especially if it's close, they're sending information through that light.
It was strange. The last time that happened to me, Chris, you know what the message was? You need a pastrami sandwich. As I live and breathe. Yeah, and you know what? I got the pastrami sandwich. It actually happened. Yeah, that's a true story. That's a true story. Now, would you be willing to one night, maybe after Easter, to maybe sit out in the backyard and do the show from your backyard?
Yeah, we'll talk about that, yeah.
You know what I mean? And just, we've got the video cameras, we've got the technology, we can get everything going, and maybe just do the show from the backyard, and with some positive vibes from my end and from you, we could have something happen live on the air.
Wouldn't that be something?
It would be.
It's what they told me. They're going to help with photo, video, and witness. And what would it be like to have that many witnesses? It'd be crazy.
Wow. Yeah, we should do it. We should do it. Bledsoe Cam live on Fade to Black. No, I'm not in any way joking about this. I think that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, we could sure try it. Wouldn't hurt as long as it isn't 20 degrees. I can't take the cold.
Well, it'll be April, so it might start to warm up.
So I have a severe case, moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis, and if you know anything about that, cold weather doesn't work too good. So I'm always under a fireplace or something.
Yeah, I know, and I want you to take care of yourself and stay healthy, and give our best to the family, and Junior, and of course Ryan, and everybody out there. I want you to be safe. Have a great Easter, and we'll circle back right after that.
I appreciate you having me on, Jim. It's been an honor.
Chris, you're the absolute best, man. Thank you so much.
All right, brother. Call me.
I will.
Stay in touch.
I will absolutely call you. Thank you so much, Chris, and have a great night, and give my best to the family. And thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Chris Bledsoe. What a great conversation. I think that's a great idea. I do. I think we should have a live Easter show with Chris Bledsoe from the compound. This is Fade to Black. I'm yours, Jimmy Church. I'll be right back after this short break with your live phone call. Stay with me. I'll be right back.
Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today.
Hello, my name is Billy Carson, and I am a best-selling author and the founder of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Together with my team, we have built an all-new conscious streaming TV platform designed with every family member in mind. If you have ever wanted to travel the world and attend lectures and workshops from your favorite speakers but weren't able to, look no further. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. There are dozens of workshops and lectures from speakers you know and love. We have also included amazing categories to assure that your consciousness is entertained and elevating on a daily basis. Amazing interviews, ancient history, ascension knowledge, wisdom teachings, documentaries, conspiracies, mysteries, health and fitness, conscious cooking, meditations, finance, yoga, and so much more. To start your free trial on any mobile device or computer, surf to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4, ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Again, visit ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. I've opened up the phone line, 747-228-2051. 747-228-2051. Always great with Chris Bledsoe, and I always learn something. And a couple of takeaways tonight. I mean, we have, I think, this includes me, that with my conversations with Chris in the past, I've always made a biblical connection, a religious connection to all of this. And the description of the lady, of course, is going to bring all of this forward. And Fatima, the comparisons there are just extraordinary, right? But I've always made, and tonight I learned that it isn't that it's the powers of the world that are trying to drive the biblical narrative. That the lady is saying that is what is going on. That removes this religious connection for me nearly completely. And isn't that interesting? I'm a little perplexed with this. I need to sit on this a little bit and think about this. I'm certainly going to do this tonight after the show. But isn't that very interesting? There was another mention that Chris said tonight that again, I don't want to put words or thoughts into his mouth or his mind. But that all of this could be just from this earth, whether it's from other dimensions or the appearances, that they are here, that it's coming from here. Now, I don't think that explains everything in the past. But I do believe, going back historically, which we've all done on this show many, many times, going back historically, that I've always felt that if you take the Bible and any folklore mythology that has been handed down for millennia, that if you take angels and replace that with aliens, you've got a story. You get into craft and things, and you've got... insert that into what is going on into the Bible, and you've got something that makes a lot more sense. And I've always felt that. And Chris bringing this up tonight, I think, is also interesting. But that doesn't explain everything. That does not explain my beer can and other sightings that have gone on. No, it just doesn't. Not for me. And if we go back to things like Betty and Barney Hill, certainly the Hesses, I thought was amazing that he brought up the Mojave incident tonight, and that one of the people visiting him, he didn't say if it was from an agency or whatever, said, "Here, read this book." That was pretty interesting. There are similarities with the Hesses encounter in the Mojave Desert with some of the things that Chris has brought up over the years too as well. That's pretty fascinating. I didn't think I would go back and visit the Mojave incident in this context, but we did that tonight. Very, very interesting. Sarah just said, "No, I don't feel drawn to religion, but I know I feel connected to that lineage." I feel that too. It's weird. Absolutely weird. Okay, 747-228-2051. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. It's Rhea. How are you?
Hi, Rhea. How are you? What's going on?
Doing great. Oh, just making some scones, enjoying listening to Chris Bledsoe on Fade to Black. It's an excellent night.
Yeah. He's just absolutely amazing. What did you think of the conversation?
Oh, I just really enjoy his perspective. He really knows how to keep an open mind while keeping his eye on facts and how they align.
Well, he says over and over again, I'm trying to understand this along with everybody else. I don't know what is going on. I just know that these events are happening. I think originally going back to 2007, the original January 8th with his son and his co-workers, contractors that were working for him, that they assumed at that time that this was an extraterrestrial encounter, that this was a UFO, and that's what was happening that particular evening. It has happened enough repeatedly over time that he's starting to change his view on this completely. And that, and that explains a lot for him, what is going on. It doesn't necessarily for me. I've never had a religious tie-in with anything that I have seen. It has never entered the picture. I've been around hundreds of people when we've had our sightings, and I don't think anybody said, "Oh man, it's Jesus." That's never happened. But I've often thought about one of the biblical stories that I've always been fascinated with, and it's not Ezekiel. It was when Moses was guided through the desert with a light in the sky that illuminated everything. Right. And then brought them manna from heaven, right, to, heaven, the stars, to keep everybody fed. I always thought that seemed very extraterrestrial to me.
Yeah. And it sounds like a great one-liner. Yeah. The food came from heaven.
It does. It does.
It's like it's a ship. It does. Right.
Well, and if you're Moses, how do you explain that to everybody that's with you out in the middle of the desert? Right, you can't tell them. Well, it's dudes from the Andromeda galaxy here to make sure that we don't starve. They're not going to understand that, right? You have to tell them it's from heaven. Well, that they can absorb that, and it's not going to scare them.
Yeah, and that's the same conversation that keeps being like we keep getting stuck on that with full disclosure, like never happening. And it always seems like there's a certain percentage of the population whose minds will just totally explode if, they know something's happening that they didn't know yesterday.
Well, I think that everybody is, and I'm talking about the world, I think that everybody has an open mind to, well, not everybody, but most, that there is something else going on that can explain so many different things. What that is, I don't know yet, and I don't think anybody does. But I don't think it's going to come down as a big surprise and crush everybody and their belief systems. I don't think it's going to be that. I think they're looking for an explanation.
And I've been given some hints and tips along the way, and there's just a few things that Chris was talking about that resonated with me, which is why I was like, oh, okay, I got a call.
Like what?
Because he was talking about the 20%. Remember, he kept saying, 20%. And there's a math that is wrong, but which makes that correct. And it's what Pareto's 80-20 rule is based on. And it's based on a false use of base 10 math when we live in a base 9 system. And people don't think of that as being interesting because people don't want to say, oh, well, we're inside of a simulated environment and things like code translate into our well-beingness inside of the realm. And I'm told that in the Taurian age, in the last Taurian age, a weapon was created to basically take what we see and limit its truthfulness so that we are permanently lost. And this is what's, being born into sin. Sin just means missing the mark. And it's basically like being born visually crippled. And instead of 10 times 10, 100 being 100%, it's 9 times 9 or 81 that is 100%. And that fake missing 19% is the 20% that our dear Chris was talking about. And my guides have been, it took me months and months to hear this teaching. It's really simple. When you run the numbers and you realize how this weapon can just blot out 80% of what someone sees. But it's in alignment with how vibration creates everything and how you get what you put out. But in the sense of what this realm is, we have an amplification of difficulties. When it gets bad, it goes downhill. When you put any good attention to it, it gets better pretty quick. These extremes are done on purpose because this whole environment is a question and answer environment. And we are little bubbles of consciousness floating around, having conversations with each other because the grand orderly design has a question it needs answered. And here in this very imperfect place, we are pretending imperfection so that we can really, in essence, give ourselves, our thought processes a thrust to push against. Like if we never had a time limit or if we never had, any kind of disability, there are so many things that we have learned from having disabilities, examples like that. So there is always, no matter what, 81% correct and 19% incorrect being promulgated, being heard, being typed up, being transmitted in every single form. And it's all of our job in a puzzle kind of a sense to figure out what our personal 19% is. It's like our blind spot.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like Plato's cave. We think everything's what it is, but we're only seeing 81% of it in our perception. And there will always be like each of us looking at a piece of the elephant and describing it to someone else. There will always be extreme opinions about what's going on because of that.
Well, and the 80-20 rule can apply in reverse too as well. It could be 80% no and 20% yes. It could be
because we have duality and we flip back and forth very flippantly.
Yes. I've always recognized the 80-20 rule, which is applied to just about anything in life, right? But you go and look at it, whatever your specific situation is, and look at it and analyze, and does the 80-20 rule apply, right? And it's kind of funny. 80-20 rule works, right? It works
really
over and over and over again. Like I said, it could be 80% yes, 20% no. It could be 80% no and 20% yes, or positive and negative, or bad and good, or whatever. But it
could be your entendre that is the problem, or it could be the spelling of something that's a problem, or it could be, someone's just having a bad day. It just, you never know what that's going to be.
Yeah, it's never 50-50. Right? It's kind of weird. It's never 50-50. It seems like it is, but if you just analyze whatever it is that you want to focus on, doesn't matter what it is, that 80-20 rule, man, it comes into play every single time over and over again. Rhea, thank you for the phone call. Great conversation.
Blessings, everybody. Take care.
We'll see you tomorrow night. Don't forget, tomorrow night, Avi Loeb, right here from Harvard, and it is going to be a great conversation. So we'll see you tomorrow night. There is another, before I get back to the phones, there's another issue that I have. All right? When we talk about hardcore religion and God, I back up, and I'm just going to say this. I have a hard time with the concept, and then I'm going to follow it up with another statement. I have a hard time with the concept when I see 10-year-old children with machetes in Africa chopping each other up. And then that 10-year-old child has to go home and think about it and go to bed. I have a hard time. Right there, I just stop. It's not about war and guns and killing. And I'm talking about an innocent lamb, an innocent child doing those kinds of things. That I have an issue with. And then the flip side, I mean, I've got a big issue. I just stop right there. How can that hell on earth be allowed to exist? How can you imagine witnessing and walking down the street and seeing this kind of thing going on? Right? And then the paradox that I am, the walking hypocrite that I am, I look at the universe and I think that there has to be something intelligent behind all of this. Something very older than our universe. You know, something out there that is driving all of this, the miracle of the creation of DNA. You know, how it is that I am able to sit and think about things and talk on the radio and have conversations and wonder about everything. That's a friggin' miracle. And what is behind that? It's confusing to me. And it's a heavy thought too as well. You know, because the two go together and I'm not sure how. I'm just I'm blown away by it. Let's go back to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hello, Jimmy. It's the Midnight Man in Staten Island, Joe Rich.
Hey, Joe. How are you, man?
I was going to tell you a story about my great-grandmother, but just since you mentioned that, it's like my conception of God.
Say that again?
You like my conception of God?
No, I don't, but I got the feeling you're going to tell me.
Well, it's okay. I'm not going to be preachy.
You don't have to be.
It's not even religious, Jimmy. Let's assume you're an engineer and you needed a generator to generate some energy to maybe power some whatever. Suppose if the concept, as they say, that, you know, we were created like the universe is created, suppose we're all parts of a machine and we're animate, we have a consciousness, we can have pleasure, joy, and emotions. But what if it's all about the fact that the universe was created to serve another being for something we don't really know what we're doing, but whether it's, you know, bad, evil, good, love, hate, war, everything, all this is generating energy for a being that we don't understand, for a purpose we don't understand. And what if we're all just like parts in a computer? Like you know, what would you say? Some kind of chip, transistor, whatever. Or we're just all here just generating energy. You know? That's just a thought I into recently.
And I have thought about that many times, that Gaia, you know, this Earth and the way that it has evolved over time is a perfectly running machine, and that we all understand that. We all have our place in evolution and how we move forward. And then, so as I absorb that wonderful thought and think that I'm starting to understand things, and then I know that we are killing off the bees, right? That we're killing off wildlife, and that how it seems that everywhere man goes, Homo sapien, we just wipe out everything that is around us. We just do that, and it's like we are interrupting the other cogs in the machine, right? We are messing with the perfect symbiotic nature of everything that has figured out a way to make life on this planet, and we are messing it up. I just don't understand it. You know what? If I was king of the world. If I was king of the world, Joe,
Jeremiah was a bullfrog.
If I would, yeah, that's right, 3 Dog Night. If I was king of the world, I would make it illegal to kill a bee. You go to jail. Kill a bee. Kill a bee. Step on a bee. Kill a bee. Spray insecticide. Spray insecticide on plants that kills off bees. You go to jail. If you manufacture an insecticide that kills bees, you go to jail.
But then you become a cancel culture as well, Jimmy.
That's what I would do. That's what I would do. Then
you become a cancel culture you were talking about earlier in the show.
I would cancel. That's right. I would cancel insecticides because if we think about this, everything in nature is there for a reason, right? It's there for that's it. That's the only reason why we are here, is because everything works, and we want to go out of our way to disrupt it. If the balancing point, and I'm focusing on bees, but if the balancing is tipped, where suddenly bees are on the decline, plants go on the decline, oxygen goes on the decline. The next thing you know, in a matter of days, we're going to have bad soil. We're going to have dying plants. We're going to have oxygen depleted quickly. This is going to happen like overnight. What? So that the elite 1% that wanted to make money by selling insecticides and controlling, that they can live this life, they're going to exist for one more generation. That's it. It's over. So we need to really stop and understand exactly what you're saying, Joe, that we are all energy in the machine.
Can I just share one small thing about the guests? My great-grandmother, right, she passed away when I was 5, but I still remember her. She's an older lady, and back in the day, they took care of their parents in their houses. They didn't put them in homes, too much. So my great aunt, her daughter, she told me a story that before she passed, my great-grandma looked up, right? And she said she saw a beautiful lady. And she's telling her to come. And, of course, my aunt would say it was, the Virgin Mary, Roman Catholic, and so on. But like your guest was saying, she passed shortly after that. Very interesting.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that, Joe. I don't know why throughout history that this has been repeated over and over again. This female apparition entity appears and speaks to people. I don't know. He brought up Lourdes too in France, and this has happened over and over and over again. Is it the same thing that Chris is experiencing? I've never experienced it. I don't know. but I find that part of Chris's experiences fascinating. I mean, I can't even put it into words. And he's trying to make sense of it. We are trying to make sense of it. I find it fascinating when Chris says over and over again, dude, I don't know. Try to make sense of all of this. I don't understand it. I can only repeat what I am getting, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on. That's the best part of all of this. We need to figure it out. So, yeah, maybe we'll do a live show right after Easter with Chris out at the Bledsoe compound. I think that's a great idea. Joe, I want you to have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow right here on the show.
Take care. Be well, brother.
Thank you so much, Joe. And Joe from Staten Island coming in at the end of the show. Yeah, the balance of everything on this planet, some of it is out of our control. There's been many ice ages that have come in. There's been extreme heat. There has been every type of situation that has been on this planet. And that part has happened without humans, right? But the part that we can control today, we don't care about. We don't. And the balance of what drives everything, it's like we're trying to mess it up. We're going out of our way to make sure that we mess everything up. And I just don't get it. I don't get it. I'm in my backyard with Rita. We've got flowers and things planted all over the place. We got bird feeders. We're feeding the hummingbirds and things. And I'm watching these bees jump around, and I love it. More bees. And it's our little contribution to everything. I wish that everybody did the same thing. That includes the farmers. Monsanto. Don't kill bees. Don't. It all starts right there. What a great show tonight. Thank you to Chris Bledsoe Sr. for coming in. Another great conversation. Tomorrow night right here, Harvard professor Avi Loeb. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Camurian. Shows produced by Hill J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, Mark D. Kovar. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy. SpaceboyMusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. Syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2021 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Until tomorrow night with Avi Loeb, I want everybody to be safe. It's time to fade to black.